So you're thinking about buying a home and you have that question, pre-existing, new construction, pre-existing, new construction. Well, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of both in this video. Let's go. Dr. Adrian Gentry, aka Dr. Real Estate Jax. All right. If you're new, welcome. Welcome to my channel. I want you to pull up a chair, hit the bell notifications, subscribe button, and the like. Guess what? So you can get these new videos I put out every week, 2 to 3, help you understand the buying process, the selling process, the investing process, and guess what? Show you around town. Come on in. We love you here. If you have been to my channel before, I appreciate all the support, but guess what? Your family, get your own order. I say it every time. It's my new tagline. Sounds dope. But I wanted to talk about new construction versus pre-existing. Now, when it comes to buying a home, these are things that you probably need to know. You probably need to know before you buy a house. And whether it's a new construction or pre-existing, there are a couple of things to consider. And it's all about family. What may be best for you and your family. So I'm going to give you some pros and cons today to help you make a better decision if you want a pre-existing or a new construction. Not going to hold you long. So let's go. New construction. Now, I absolutely love new construction homes for first-time home buyers. And I'll tell you this why. One, it's less maintenance. Also, you're looking at builder's warranties. So when I talk about builder's warranties, every warranty may vary from builder to builder. You're looking at everything in the house being covered when you move into the property. Let me help you out. That means less money out the pocket, and it's a great transition from renting to buying. You don't have to deal with everything you had to deal with in a rental property when they called. You had the plumbing issue, you had the electric issue, there was a leak in the roof, because pre-existing homes do have these problems. Not saying that new construction doesn't, but it's less likely, and you also have a warranty for someone to come out there and fix it for free. Free. Okay. Some of the newer construction areas also have a lot of amenities like parks and tennis courts and pools that you pay your monthly HOA or CDD fee or both that you can actually go out and utilize. It's crazy. No longer going to the rec, buddy. Do people go to recs anymore? But you don't have to go to someone else's pool to actually get in the pool or the apartment complex or that you just came from. I'm just saying. It's a great thing to have when you have amenities. Most of the appliances are now energy efficient, saving you money every month on your electric bill. Also, if you are buying new construction on the outskirts of town, cost of living may be cheaper than actually living in the city. Also, you don't have those pesky friends that like to pop up for no reason
and say, hey, what are you doing?
I don't like that. Don't knock on my door. What they say? Call before you come. That's my entire philosophy about my house. You better call me before you come. Other things, you get to actually pick out the finishes in your property. It's not something that's already done. A majority of new builders have a home buyer center. So when you walk into that model home and you see the countertops, they're brand new and shiny. You see the flooring, you see that amazing water feature in the bathroom. I'm saying water feature, but I'm really thinking like faucet. It sounds better when you say feature, right? Just sounds better in sales. You can actually pick that out for your property, and you get to hand pick what you want in your home. Now, if this is your first home, it doesn't necessarily have to be your dream home. And I try to get all buyers to understand that. You don't have to get everything that you've seen on HGTV in one house. There's a thing called house hacking. We'll talk about that later. But you can definitely get the things that you like and can afford at that time in that property. And then this one is a great one, right? If you're lucky enough to get into that neighborhood at the beginning, it's going to be good, guys. If you're lucky enough to get into that neighborhood in, say, phase 1, and there's 3 phases, your home will appreciate faster. Because that cost of that first house is definitely not the cost of the last house that's built. Look at E-Town in Jacksonville. Many of the houses started out there at $250,000. I hate to tell you that. Like, if you didn't get in, I'm sorry. But they are now selling for $500,000, $450,000, $500,000 and above. So the people who were first to buy in that community automatically their homes have appreciated just by living in the community. They bought a house first, they got in, and now guess what? They want to sell, they're banking cash. Talk about thousands of dollars. Now, there are some cons to new construction. Some of the new construction cons may be if you're buying, they may be further away from the city to get that cheaper price. Some of the other things, you actually get smaller lots. So there used to be a time when you would buy new construction, you're looking at a 1/4 acre lot, and that doesn't happen anymore, right? You're going to have to pay or buy a whole nother lot. The lots have become a lot smaller in new construction, and it's kind of frustrating because now you're getting that appeal where you can almost touch the neighbor right next to you. And people can look through your window. I don't necessarily feel that, but many builders in the higher price ranges offer a little bit more space, and basically because they're offering you a much bigger house, just being honest. You also get the cookie cutter appeal, and I'm going to put one up right now. See that? That's the cookie cutter. That is the cookie cutter. You're going to get that in majority of the neighborhoods that are new construction. Why? Because they're governed by HOA and they want to maintain a standard inside of the neighborhood. So you don't get the appeal, the sex appeal that you may get with the older houses. That nice porch on the front where you can sit around and drink iced tea and lemonade, or I don't know what you do on your porch, just rap. I don't know. Whatever you choose to do. You don't get that same appeal in those houses. And the architecture is not there. Those details that they used to have, they're just not present in new construction homes. Now, we're in the seller's market. So we're dealing with a longer wait time on building these properties. We're looking at about 10 to 12 months on most new construction properties in case you get them and they've already started the building process. And before, I've told you in my other video, 12 things you need to know before buying new construction. There are very few spec homes on the market where you can move right in 45 days. Just not in this market right now, but it will be back soon. Just wait, hold on. Now, let's talk about pre-existing properties. Okay. Now, pre-existing properties, you get that charm, right? You get the old Southern feel in some of them. You get the brick. You get some of the architectural details inside where people actually carve things by hand. It's a beautiful thing. You have a more established neighborhood. You already know which stores are going to be out there. So it's built up, right? That's one of the great things I love about pre-existing properties. You have the larger lots. You typically have more room to negotiate price than with a new construction. Why? Because the price is the price with new construction. The things that we negotiate are the extras that you guys get. And then most of the time they're in a neighborhood that's known, a more desirable location. So owning a pre-existing home can be fantastic, but guess what? You have some cons to it. When I get to some of these cons, you might say, you know what? It's just not for me. Let's get a new construction. Some of the cons of pre-existing. When a home inspection is done on a property, they can see what's in the house. They can't see what's underground. I hate to tell you that. They can see what's going on with the roof, and there will never be 100% accurate inspection. What they can see, what they can touch is what you get an inspection on. So being in a pre-existing home can be more costly to you, right? Some of those repairs you may need to make, because guess what? That hot water heater has been in there for 15 years. I don't know if it's going to go tomorrow. You don't know if it's going to go tomorrow, but it can cost you probably about $400, $500. But it's still a cost that you wouldn't have if you were living in a new construction. Low inventory in the market right now would be a second con. Very few homes are selling. That's just the nature of the business. And the reason a lot of them aren't selling, because people have lived in these homes for a while now. There has been the foreclosure forbearance going on. There has been no evictions going on. So guess what? There are very few pre-existing homes on the market. Now, some people have bought them 2 or 3 years ago, and they're jumping out of them, and they're pretty much still new construction, so to speak. So those may be some great ones and great opportunities to jump on. Not as efficient. Now, you have all been in that house where you can actually feel the wind coming up underneath the door. I remember when I first got to Jacksonville, I lived in this house, and I promise you, it was a very eclectic side of town. I'll say it like that right there. They were older houses built in the 1950s. Very beautiful area to live in. However, my bill was like $250 every month. And I promise you, in the winter, you had to put towels by the door. You had to close certain doors. Otherwise, you were going to freeze to death. And I promise you, I was just giving AC to the bugs outside because it cost me a lot. Newer homes are more sealed up, so you don't have that exact problem. But in pre-existing, that may be something you have to look at. It may need more insulation in the attic, more insulation in the walls, and eventually it's going to cost you if you don't make those type of upgrades. Small storage spaces. Now, I'm still debating in my mind, were people just smaller years ago? I don't get it, but a lot of the homes built pre-1980, they're little. They're little inside. I mean, I don't know if the clothes were little, the people were smaller. Maybe it was, I don't know, the lollipop kids. But the problem, but nevertheless, those people had a lot less space in those houses. And you did not have much storage at all. So you would have to break out a wall or just live with it. Now, I hate to say this. I just sold a house to one of my customers. It was our first house. They had done immaculate renovations on this property. I mean, it was beautiful. Flooring, electric, HVAC, everything you could possibly think of. Her closet was probably about the size of, I don't know, 2 doorways put together, and is about as deep as, 2 to 3 feet. It was no space at all. And she was like, Adrian, I don't care. This is my first house. I know I don't have any space. So she uses a whole nother bedroom for a closet. But that's what you get sometimes when you're dealing with older homes. You're getting a lot less space than you would in a newer home if no one has made any modifications. And then the last thing, older appliances. You don't always get the owner that has upgraded all their appliances, right? I need a ice maker. It's just something that I have to live with. I'm accustomed to it now. You may not get it. I don't know. In the older homes, you may not have any warranties on those appliances in the older homes, which may cost you, when you move into the property, a couple extra $100. But those are it. Those are some of the pros and cons. And I want you to really sit down and think about, is this what I want, right? Is a new construction something that I need for my lifestyle right now? Understand what I said. You don't need to get the perfect home right now if you're a first-time home buyer, but you have to weigh the pros and the cons. Sometimes the architectural details mean a lot more to you, and much more space in the backyard, that could be a deal breaker for a lot of people. For me, I tell people this all the time. I want 5 to 10 acres. I want space where nobody can just pop up. Call before you come. That's the type of life I want. But I want you to always weigh the pros and the cons. And that's why I do these videos, to not just educate you on what it is, but help you to understand it. Help you to understand that this is a process of pros, cons. It's about finance. It's about understanding what you're getting into, because I hate for you to get into a house and have buyer's remorse. So that's basically it. I thank you for coming on for yet another video. If you haven't, hit the bell notification so you can get more of this information. I'm feeding you all information right now. Until next time, be great and choose excellence at everything you do.